Good morning, students. Myself S.J. Bhatmare, and today in this online lecture series and on environmental engineering, in this lecture we will study about thermal pollution. Okay, so what do you know about thermal pollution? We start with the first introduction. Thermal pollution is the harmful increase in water temperature in streams, rivers, lakes, or occasionally coastal ocean waters. Okay, it is the degradation of water quality by any process that changes ambient water temperature. A temperature increases as small as 1 or 2 Celsius degrees, about 2 to 4 Fahrenheit degrees, can kill native fish, shellfish, and plants or drive them out in favor of other species, often with undesirable effects. Okay, that in this thermal pollution is nothing but the harmful increase in water temperature in streams, rivers, lakes, or occasionally coastal ocean waters. Okay, then what are the causes of thermal pollution? First, the major sources of thermal pollution are electric power plants and industrial factories. Second, another cause is the use of water as a coolant by power plants and industrial manufacturers. When water used as a coolant is returned to the natural environment at a higher temperature, the change in temperature decreases oxygen supply and affects ecosystem composition. Third, when a power plant first opens or shut down for repair or other causes, fish and other organisms adapted to particular temperature range can be killed by the abrupt change in water temperature known as thermal shock. Then next, streams and small lakes are naturally kept cool by trees and other tall plants that block sunlight. People often remove this shading vegetation in order to harvest the wood in the trees to make room for crops or to construct buildings, roads, and other structures. Even the removal of vegetation far away from a stream or lake can contribute to thermal pollution by speeding up the erosion of soil into the water, making it muddy. Okay, these are some major causes of thermal pollution. Then, what are the impacts? First, all plants and animal species that live in water are adapted to temperatures within a certain range. Second, this can be harm aquatic animals such as fish, amphibians, and other aquatic organisms. Thermal pollution may also increase the metabolic rate of aquatic animals as enzyme activity, resulting in these organisms consuming more food in a shorter time than if their environment were not changed. Then, third impact is some organisms do thrive in warm water, often with undesirable effects. Algae and other plants grow more rapidly in warm water than in cold, but they also die more rapidly. Okay. Then, fourth impact is primary producers are affected by warm water because higher water temperature increases plant growth rates, resulting in a shorter lifespan and species overpopulation. Then, fifth impact is temperature changes of even 1 to 2 degrees Celsius can cause significant changes in organism metabolism and other adverse cellular biology effects. Principal adverse changes can include rendering cell walls less permeable to necessary osmosis, coagulation, of cell proteins and alteration of enzyme metabolism. Then how can we control the thermal pollution? We have to control the thermal pollution. Okay, so first, thermal pollution from power plants and factories is relatively easy to control. Instead of discharging heated water into lakes and streams, power plants and factories can pass the heated water through cooling towers or cooling ponds, where evaporation cools the water before it is discharged. Then second, alternatively, power plants can be designed or refitted to be more efficient and to produce less waste heat in the first place. Then third, in the United States, about 75 to 82% of thermal pollution is generated by power plants. The remainder is from industrial sources such as petroleum refineries, pulp and paper mills, chemical plants, steel mills, and smelters. Heated water from these sources may be controlled with cooling ponds, cooling towers, and cogeneration. So, cooling ponds, man-made bodies of water designed for cooling by evaporation, convection, and radiation. Cooling towers, which transfer waste heat to the atmosphere through evaporation and or heat transfer. Cogeneration, a process where waste heat is recycled for domestic and or industrial heating purposes. Okay. Then thermal pollution from devegetation is quite hard to control because it is caused by the cumulative effect for many people's actions, most of which are individually minor. Then there should be implemented laws that will help control, conserve, and protect resources to counter thermal pollution. Next, to prevent thermal pollution due to devegetation, the prescription is simple. Do not devegetate. All efforts to control erosion also have the effect of keeping water cleaner and thus cooler. Then, last but not least, the control is in the United States, the problem of industrial thermal pollution was first addressed in 1970 when Congress gave the Atomic Energy Commission authority to regulate thermal pollution from nuclear power plants. In 1972, the Comprehensive Clean Water Act instructed the Environmental Protection Agency to issue regulations to clean up all hot water discharges from all power plants, nuclear or conventional. Since then, thermal pollution from power plants has not been a major issue in the United States. Okay, these are the major controls for thermal pollution. Okay, thank you very much. In this lecture we studied about thermal pollution, their effects, their causes, and the remedial measures or the controls to thermal pollution. Okay, thank you. So during this lockdown period, we are completed our remaining syllabus, that is soil pollution, noise pollution, thermal pollution, solid waste management, by the online lectures. Okay, thank you very much.